What's up everyone, I'm here at the Boulders Exhibition Centre in Manchester and I'm at the Awakening weekend. This is a great event, it's got UFOs and some other bits of paranormal stuff. I've come here because I want to bring some bits of UFO to the channel, so I thought a perfect place to come. I'm here and I'm going to be checking out some of the exhibits, talking to some of the guests. Well, that's enough of me waffling, let's get going.
Coming up on this special video, I went to the Awakenings in Manchester where I saw Nick Pope, Barry Fitzgerald from Ghost Hunters International and met various mediums and paranormal groups. The Awakening events began in 2017. This particular event in 2023 was sponsored by Forbidden Knowledge TV. Jimmy Church, James Fox, Billy Carson and Nick Pope were the main celebs, but there was also Craig Charles, Melissa Tittl and various other celebrities from the world of the UFO phenomena. We was also treated to an exclusive preview of a new film by James Fox called Moment of Contact.
So while I was here, I bumped into a few paranormal groups. One of them's Club Zero, and they're a nice bunch, and I thought, let's sit down and have a little chat about everything going on paranormal, what they've discovered, their thoughts on everything. Enough of me waffling, let's get going. So I'm here today at Awakening, and I've just bumped into some paranormal investigators like myself, and I thought, perfect time to chat on camera.
I'm Chris from Club Zero, my colleagues with me, Andy. Andy's spiritual medium.
Andy, Michaela and Chris, yeah. Brilliant, Andy, Michaela and Chris. What do you cover normally with your paranormal group? Is it mainly spirits, ghosts, or UFOs?
Yeah, mainly. I mean, we've got different sects like in the group where people have a different interest. So yeah, they're all interested in the ghost side of things, but we do have people interested in the UFO side of things. Some people are interested in the cryptozoology, all sorts of things. We fit it under the same umbrella, but when we're out and about investigating, it's usually on the ghostly side of things.
Yeah, yeah.
But we do
Who formed the group?
Myself, yeah, 2003, 20 years ago.
That's about the same time I've been investigating, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And what made you get into? Did something happen?
Yeah. Personal experiences when I was a kid, when I was a child, and different personal experiences I'd had through growing up, and I never got answers for it. It was terrifying when you're a kid and you don't understand things. So it was a case of as you grew up, more and more things happened, but it started niggling away at me in my own head about. You push it to one side, and then at some stage in your life, these reoccur, and you start saying, "Well, I'm a bit more older and wise now. I might be able to find their answers to what's happened." And it was just a concept where I thought, well, other people, you find other people have had experiences out there.
Yeah.
And so there's people out there back then as well, 20 years ago, and I suppose even today now, have had experiences that they won't come forward or they won't frighten of ridicule. Back in the day, there was a lot of ridicule.
Yeah.
So, and it was to formulate an organisation or a bringing together of people that could try and achieve answers from investigations. Mainly, I was trying to find out my own answers to what's happened to myself personally. But when you meet other people and you find what they've gone through, it's intriguing. So the body came together as a collective and to try and find what's going on out there.
Brilliant. So how many are in the group?
There's about 13 team members, I think.
Yeah, and you're based where?
Stockport.
Okay, yeah. And what would you say has been your favourite location?
We've got a lot of locations, but I think for me personally, locations that we did years back. So there'd be Butterflies nightclub, which was in Oldham. Some of the team who's with us today wasn't around then to attend them, but I'm sure they've all got different personal favourites. But Butterflies nightclub to me is out of this world. It was phenomenal.
Yeah. Do you run events?
Yeah.
You do, yeah. What's your website?
Well,
to the camera.
It's a long name. We're on Facebook.
Okay, yeah, do whichever one you want. Yeah.
Just look in Club Zero Ghost Group and you'll find us on there, and everything you need to know is on there.
Yeah, we'll put a link in the bottom of this video. So, what about yourself? What favourite location?
I think so many. I mean, I think there's one called Plasteg. Plasteg is
that's in Wales.
Got to be, yeah. I think that's one of the worst ones. I went in this bedroom and I just felt like somebody just pushed me across the room and right really forcefully. Do you know what I mean? And then we had some marbles on the table and they were in a dish. And I remember one of the marbles just hopped out and just landed next to me.
Weird, isn't it?
You know, and when I actually looked up, I actually saw this man's face for about a second, and then it disappeared and stuff like that. But that probably is one of the most scariest.
That is a bit, yeah. Do you think he lost his marbles? Sorry. Yeah. So, and Michaela, yourself?
I think it's got to be the Leopard's Inn.
Okay.
10 years ago or something.
In Birchland, right?
Yeah, room 52, because it's literally just one way in and one way out. No electricity, no running water, not even a roof was there at that time.
No.
And just out the blue, this massive transparent blue orb, big flash on the wall, and then the shadow within the shadow just lunging at us.
But that's interesting, so it's a sequence of events. This is what I've said a few times this weekend to people when they've asked me. It's always good to have a sequence of events happening rather than just one thing like a K2 going off.
I mean, we tried to reconstruct it that now, didn't we? The shadow moving within the shadow, and it was absolutely impossible.
Yeah. Oh, that's brilliant. So that's it for this little mini show with these guys. If you want to check these guys out, go to their Facebook page, which is?
It's Club Zero Ghost on Facebook.
But obviously I'll link below as well. And if you want more of these with paranormal groups, then leave a message below. Perhaps you want to be interviewed yourself. You come into one of these events. But yeah, thanks guys. So I'm here today with Barry Fitzgerald of Ghost Hunters International fame. Barry, nice to meet you. My name's Jamie. Nice to meet you finally. Been a big fan of yours.
Thank you.
How did you get into Ghost Hunters International?
Well, a long story, but initially Ghost Hunters was coming to Ireland and they needed someone on the ground to organise things, and when the team was coming to Ireland they were one man down. And so it was put to me then, would you mind going in front of the camera? And I thought, well, okay, and that was it. So I get a phone call from Los Angeles it was months later to say that the show went out. It was top-rated shows that we were working on, and I was asked, would you consider going on an international show to travel the world looking at phenomena? Well, now that took all of about 10 seconds to think of, and the rest is history.
Well, I mean, it's a hobby. Well, originally it's a hobby, isn't it? You love doing it, and then to have a chance to do it professional, I think everyone would jump to that. So, with the team, what would you say was your favourite case?
There were many cases. A lot of countries really resonated with me, and I found that during my travels, I'm an avid photographer as well, and if a country really stimulated me, I took a lot of photographs. And certainly I loved Argentina, was remarkable. Central America, again, absolutely amazing.
You got to go everywhere.
We really did.
Wow.
Yeah. And I thoroughly enjoyed the experiences. We did have a lot of experiences behind the camera when the cameras were switched off, which included phenomena such as incubus attacks, vampires even in Brazil. All of this was occurring while the cameras were switched off.
Always the way, isn't it? Everything happens when the cameras are off. People don't believe you, but it's like I've had it with these guys as well. You know, it's the same thing. That's fantastic. What are you doing now? What's your plans since you've left? What have you been doing since you left Ghost Hunters International?
Well, I have turned my focus onto my own heritage and looked at the history of Ireland and looking at the mythology and the folklore and understanding our history, primarily by using the directions left behind by our ancestors, which has been absolutely fascinating, because now we're starting to understand these ancient chambers that were left by people who had come to the island from Syria and Iraq to build before the Great Pyramids of Giza.
Oh, is this a documentary or a book you're working on?
I'm working on several book projects, and the one that I'm working on at the minute, it's the project title is staring into darkness. And this follows on from the last book, The Deceptions of Gods and Men. And this is about examining what we're communicating with. The last book, it examined that we are looking at something which is disguising itself, and has done over the centuries. So this is about pushing that aside and looking at, well, what is it? And more to the point, where is it? And I have to say that the moment that we stumble on the geographical location, the origin point, that's when all hell broke loose. Literally all hell broke loose at that point, and it has nearly destroyed us. We had to step back from that for a period to let the dust settle.
So it's been quite intense.
It's been very intense, and we're also trying to get a documentary series on the go as well, which really examines this ancient history and how that has
Is that self-produced?
No, we're wanting to get that picked up commercially. And,
that'd be nice.
And run with that. So
that'd be good.
It's a fantastic story of history, esoteric practice. And even the archaeologists that have been working on site have been fantastic.
So since Ghost Hunters International, you really have blown up in your interest in everything. And
I really had to do that, because to look at it from a simple ghostly phenomenon, I found I was being inhibited. I had to step back out of that and look at the complete umbrella.
That's interesting.
And focus on those, because it was by doing that I was able to see this chord that run through a lot of the phenomena.
I completely agree, because I've been noticing a lot of places I've been going, I'm starting to wonder a lot of these things that people are witnessing or experiencing, maybe stuff like time slips and stuff like that, more rather than just a spirit that's haunting. But let us know on the channel what you think, guys, if you know what Barry's doing. And thank you very much, Barry, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So, welcome to this interview with Medium Rafael. Welcome. Thank you for letting me talk to you here at Awakening today. And I caught your show yesterday. Do you often remember much about the messages that come across?
Not really. Once I've done my job, once the messages come through, it's pretty much gone. I have people say, oh, you know when you said that, 5 minutes ago or yesterday, and I'm like, what did I say? Who came through? Because it's not my own thoughts, it's that of the spirit. I just empty my mind and say to the spirit world, just use it as a funnel. Just put whatever it is that you need to put across. And then I think of it as me being filled up. Just a hollow tube, and they just fill it with whatever it is that they need.
Did you, how did you first know you had the gift of mediumship?
I think it's not until you start developing that you look back on life and realise what was going on. As a child, I was always seeing spirit, I was always hearing spirit. I used to go to bed at night and see face after face after face come towards me. I used to wake up in the middle of the night and hear, it's almost like two people having a conversation. You could auditively hear a voice.
Would that have been based on your house or more?
I think it was just, looking back, it was just me as a child and being sensitive. And just, being born naturally more sensitive than other people. And, seeing spirit all the time, and I just thought it was normal. I thought, like a lot of children growing up, you have your so-called imaginary friends, but I always believe that is actually spirit.
So when I was born, when I was about 6 or 7 in Essex, I actually had, apparently I was talking to someone in my bedroom, and and I was like, no, go away, I don't want to know you're there. And I'm actually as psychic as a brick, as people on the channel often hear me say.
Everybody is psychic, everybody is mediumistic, everyone has that capability if you're willing to put the effort in. Some people do take to it naturally like a duck to water. Some are more open than others. It's like learning to play the piano. Anyone can learn the piano, but not everyone's going to be a pianist in a massive orchestra. It's the same with mediumship. But if someone is willing to put the effort in, and it does take a lot of work, it does take a lot of years of development. Even if you are a natural medium who's been seeing spirit from childhood, you need to understand what it is that spirit's showing you. and how to put that across.
Because having worked with a few mediums over the years, I've been investigating now for over 20 years, and a couple of them have said, because at that time when I had that incident, I closed off. Is that possible?
It just depends. You know, some people just take to it. Like for me, seeing spirit was normal, and it never bothered me at all. I have heard stories where people get freaked out, or a lot of the time the child is okay. It is the parent that gets freaked out and then installs that fear into the child.
Yeah.
So, because they don't understand it, they don't know what's going on. So a lot of the time it is more the adult world. Children, that's why spirit come to children, because they don't care. They don't question, is it real, is it not? Or, you know, they just get on with it. While adults, it's like, what's this, what's that? Got to be in control all the time. You know, and when you're learning to develop as a medium, you have to learn to let go of control and allow spirit to do the work.
That's kind of like what I've often thought when we're children. We don't know. We're discovering the world, and if we see a supposed spirit or something, we don't understand that. That's not a real person. Do you know what I mean? That's a spirit.
Children come into this world with a clean slate.
Yeah.
It's the adults that mess them up.
It's interesting, yeah.
Because we pick up fears, we get projection. Again, it's the same with past lives. It's the same with, you know, foreseeing things that are happening. You know, sometimes a child might get upset if they foresee something or if they have a dream of something that's a little bit unsettling, because they think, well, what do I do with this? And there's no one around to explain, you know.
So, you've done TV work? What was you saying about TV work?
I have worked on TV. I have done a little bit. I did a psychic show on Sky TV called Psychic Today, which is still going.
Oh, is it? Okay.
But they've taken it more to the internet now than on Sky.
There's a lot of streaming stuff now, isn't there? Yeah, paranormal stuff.
So that was an experience. That was more psychic, really.
Oh, where the phone in and
there's a difference between psychic and mediumship.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't realise that. Psychic is the ability to link in with the physical world, with a physical person, picking up on their emotions. Mediumship uses the psychic senses, but blends it with those who have passed away. So all mediums can work psychically because you need your psychic senses to work as a medium, but not all psychics choose to work mediumistically.
Yeah.
You know, and not all tarot readers, not all astrologers are psychic, because those tools can be used simply as a tool on its own. You don't need psychic ability to read the cards or to work an astrological chart. It helps, but some people use those tools in a very logical fashion. You know, Carl Jung, who created Jungian psychology, actually studied tarot. But of course, he looked at it from a more psychological perspective.
Yeah.
But he was in favour of it. So tarot itself has its psychological elements as well as its clairvoyant elements. So, you know, it fits into everything.
Did you go to like a spiritual church trainer?
I did go, because at the time that's all I had. You know, that's all you could do, and even now that's really all you've got. I mean, you've got the College of Psychic Studies in London, you've got the Arthur Findlay College in London as well. Those are like big schools for psychics, and they do courses and workshops, but really the best bet is to find your local spiritualist church and ask about development. And a lot of circles, they call it a development circle because everyone sits in a circle. So all the chairs are laid out in a circle, everyone sits in that circle, so that the energy that builds up can go round. And so
sort of
quite fluently. So as you're sitting in that circle, energy starts to build between the group. And that swirls round and gets stronger and stronger. And then the spirit world have their own circle. And then they focus their energy bringing it down, and then the two blend together. But it's best to ask, because some circles can be quite closed. Some circles are open where anyone can come in and out at any time, while other circles are very closed and you have to ask permission. Or some churches have two circles, so you have a sort of beginner circle that everyone can go to, and then once you start showing signs of ability and working with it, then they'll move you into the development circle, which is the more closed circle, to really harness that that gift.
That's good to know.
I was at school and they needed ideas. I think it was for a fair they were doing. And I blurted out tarot reading. And the teacher at the time just looked at me and thought, don't you have to be professional to be that? Don't you have to know what you're doing to do that? And completely skipped over it and ignored it.
Yeah.
And I thought, something in that sparked me. I thought, okay, I'm going to learn it properly. So I got every book under the sun and just self-taught myself the tarot. And it is an amazing tool. And it's something that you never stop learning. It always shows you something new every time. That's when the clairvoyance opened up. So I just started using the cards on their own. Next minute, clairvoyance came into it. I didn't know what was going on. Then the mediumship increased. And then through reading different things and looking at other tools as well and learning about them, I came across mediumship. And something in me was just like, you got to go and suss this out. So at 14, I asked my mother to take me to a spiritualist church, which she did, and I just watched the medium on the platform. And I knew at that time, oh, I want to know more about this. Something in me it just feels right. You just think, this is familiar, this. But of course, a lot of development circles won't allow people to join until they're 18. It just led from one thing to the next. And from there, I ended up getting a job in a holistic shop, doing readings. I only stepped in for about a week while we tried to find another tarot reader because theirs was leaving, and I ended up being there 6 years.
Wow. And now you're here doing your own.
Then I started doing the
show.
fairs, and then more spiritualist churches, and currently I'm sitting in a trance circle, developing the trance mediumship side, which is a whole different thing in itself.
Is that something you've managed to start to do, trance mediumship, or are you at early stages?
I'm still in this early stage of development, but Spirit have been on and off with it throughout the years.
Yeah, I've come across a lot of trance mediumship. I've come across a lot of trance mediumship through my work investigating, which is something I was going to ask you about next. Have you done any paranormal investigation, ghost hunting?
Not really. It's not really my thing. I think you have two sort of mediums: those that like that sort of thing, and those that are in it more for the healing side of it, to heal the bereaved, to give them the space to find that healing. But I mean, I have been lucky enough to also witness physical mediumship, which you don't see now anymore.
What's physical mediumship?
Well, trance is let me explain. There's mental, there's trance, and there's physical. So mental mediumship is when spirits telepathically work through the mind of the medium. So the medium will clear their minds, settle their own thoughts, and then thoughts, images, pictures from the spirit will be projected into the mind of the medium. That's why they call it mental mediumship, because everything is telepathic with spirit. You know, in spirit, they don't actually use the voice. They communicate with each other telepathically. Trance is a bit of a deeper state. So it is sort of mediumship, mental mediumship. The faculties are the same. There's this whole idea that spirit take over the body, and that isn't true. What spirit do, just like with mental mediumship, a medium will quiet their mind, which in itself will open the aura. So everyone's got an auric field that has been scientifically been proven, and that aura will expand. And then spirit will step into that aura. Now, depending on how close into the aura they step into, gives the spirit more control. So with mental mediumship, they just stood on the outskirts of the aura. While when a medium goes into trance, they give spirit permission to come closer. So then there's the medium, that's where they stood with mental mediumship. In trance, they come closer. And again, it's the same process, it's all telepathy. So they're not actually in the medium's body, but it's through telepathy that they can get a deeper, more direct communication, because the medium's own mental state is more out of the way.
Right.
So they've got more control then. And in that, they can stand the medium up, they can walk the medium round, they can sit them down again. It all depends on how much control the spirit has got.
I've actually experienced that when been on investigations in the past, when they do it. It is a very strange feeling. You're watching the person you know, and maybe a friend with, but they're moving around saying something. It's not odd stuff. It's just different. They're not them.
I have seen a medium stand up in trance, walk all the way round in a circle with their eyes closed, not bump into anything, and sit down. That's how you know how much control a spirit has.
What was the third thing you said?
Physical mediumship.
Physical mediumship.
So physical mediumship is when something physical happens. So with trance, they will speak through the medium. Now there's different levels of trance. There's light overshadowing where the medium is sort of still aware but has no control. Then partially aware, and then you've got deep trance where they have no awareness whatsoever. And depending on how deep the trance state is, the voice can be very clear.
Right.
Or sometimes they use a medium's voice, but the mannerism is different. Or it starts with the medium's voice, and then as the energy builds, the voice will change into something more distinct. With physical, that's when something physical happens. So that usually uses what the term ectoplasm, which is a substance within the body that the spirit will draw out. It's like a vapor or a mist, and they draw it out of the medium, and as soon as it hits the air, it solidifies. And when it solidifies, it's like Play-Doh. Through thoughts, the spirit can coax themselves in that ectoplasm.
Because there's many years ago, there's photos of that sort of thing, isn't there?
And there's many forms it can take. They can fully materialise from head to toe. They can do what they call transfiguration, where they build a mask of ectoplasm over the medium's face, project their facial features into it, and you will see them as clear as day with your own physical eyes. So they're as solid as they would be if they were physically here. There's also independent direct voice, where instead of using the medium's voice box, as in trance, they will create a separate voice box, and they will speak through that.
But that's something like what happened in like the Enfield podcast, when the young girl started talking in the old.
They usually, in those seances, they usually have what they call a trumpet, and the ectoplasm will attach itself to the trumpet, which is basically like a metal cone.
Oh, okay.
And it will levitate in the air, and they will direct it to the person that they want, and it will hover in front of the person that they want, and then the voice will come out.
Oh,
and really, not all direct voice mediums use a trumpet, but it was simply used to amplify the voice.
Yeah.
There is a famous medium called Leslie Flint, who now is in spirit, but he was a direct voice medium. Now, what was unique about him was he was always awake. He was never in trance when it happened. He simply sat in a darkened room, which is usually the case because that's how you can see physical mediumship more clearly. And next minute, voices would be heard all throughout the room. And he wouldn't have a trumpet because it's freaked the hell out of him. He didn't like it floating, but voices would be heard. And he was actually scientifically tested. They put a band of tape round his mouth. No, they made him fill his mouth up with water, bound his mouth up, make him sat there for the whole seance, and then they took it off afterwards, made him spit the water out and measured the water to make sure that he hadn't swallowed it and therefore wasn't putting voices on. And he did exactly that. And they couldn't explain how that was possible.
Rafael, it's been really great. Thank you very much. And yeah, if you want to check out Rafael, what's your website?
www.mediumrafael.com.
Lovely. Thank you very much.
Here representing the Allies of Humanity, which are books that have been received from physical beings who almost lost their planets to the same beings that are intervening in our world, as well as the new message, which represents the spiritual force that these aliens, the one thing they can't manipulate in human beings is spirituality. So these books are available for free, and they're also available free to read online. They tell you what we need to know as a planet and as a world, so that we are not overtaken by these resource explorers, because that's what they want. They're after the biological resources of the world. And like every other resource explorer, they divide the natives and they get them to turn against their own governments and create all this dissension so that eventually people will turn to them.
Hello everyone, so my name is Tittl. I'm from the Aetherius Society. So the Aetherius Society was founded by Dr. George King, who was contacted by extraterrestrial intelligences in the 1950s. So Dr. George King, over the next 15 to 20 years, received over 600 cosmic transmissions, giving essential teaching which is crucial to the future of mankind on this earth. So the Aetherius Society effectively is promoting and cooperating with intelligences from extraterrestrial intelligences and helping humanity actively through cosmic missions. So here's our stand. We've got lots of books here, so you can check that out and learn more about the Aetherius Society and how it is actively helping humanity at this critical time in our history.
Welcome back to Paranormal Talks, and we're still here at Awakening. Today I'm talking to Birmingham UFO Group, Dave Hoekstra.
Yep, that's the one.
Yeah. That's actually about take 20. Dave, Jamie, nice to meet you.
You too.
UFO groups around here. Are you the big go-to man?
One of, yeah. There's not that many active UFO groups in the UK today, really, that do kind of regular meetings and direct investigation.
Okay. And how did you get into it?
So I've always been interested in the subject of UFOs since childhood. Started going to conferences at age 16 and that sort of thing. But it wasn't until the creation of Birmingham UFO Group in 2007 that was my driving force into active investigation.
Right, okay.
It was I was one of the initial members to sign up for the group, and after a couple of months, the initial chairman of the group took me on as the investigator for Birmingham UFO Group. So from that point onwards, I was directly speaking with witnesses, writing case reports, etc. And then in 2009, they also handed over the group to me, and I've been running it ever since while being the lead investigator.
I saw your stall over there.
Yes.
And you've got, is it a tactical game or something?
It is, yes. It's a card game themed on the UFO subject. So as well as a ufologist, I'm also an avid tabletop gamer. Right. And my, some would say my midlife crisis was to design and release my own tabletop game themed directly on the UFO subject. And that's what that is.
Because it literally took 5 minutes to get him set up because he got so many people coming to you saying about this game. So I'm going to have to check this game out after this interview.
I think you'll find it fun.
What's the website to go to?
So the main website for Birmingham UFO Group is www.bufog.com. That's BUFOG.com. On there, you'll find literally hundreds of case reports written up over the last 15 years by myself and the other two investigators of the group.
Is that just for the area or the whole of the UK?
So I investigate worldwide. So many of the cases are going to be from the Birmingham or Midlands area. There's a few on there from Birmingham, Alabama, because we've had people contact us from there. But I investigate cases from all around the world.
Brilliant. So, what was your favourite case?
What's my favourite case?
UK. Let's say the UK.
Oh, that's a difficult one. Okay, so there's lots of sort of aspects and certain cases that stand out for me. But one of the big ones, it's a case from right back in 1974. And the reason why it's so impressive is it involved multiple separate groups of individual independent witnesses who actually got in touch individually to me over the years. And essentially, it was a V-shaped formation of oval-shaped pearlescent UFOs that went right down the UK, from right up in Liverpool area, right down to Devon, kind of formed an S-shape across the country. I had 3 separate witness groups contact me about that, some of which came to me as a result of releasing the initial case report on it. There were some very impressive manoeuvres these things were doing. Sometimes they kind of shoot up vertically and then suddenly stop dead and kind of fly off and this sort of thing. Very, very interesting case.
Very interesting, brilliant. And that's all on your website.
It is, yeah.
So what's your plans now? What are you doing?
So with the game now released on Amazon.co.uk, my next plans is to start working on my book. A lot of people have asked when I'm going to write a book because I've literally investigated over 1,000 cases now over the last 15 years. So there's a hell of a lot of information, and it'd be good to get that out in book form.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much, Dave.
No problem.
It's been great speaking to you.
Yeah, you too.
Hopefully we might get back on the channel again.
Sure thing.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
One of the people I wanted to speak to while I was there was Nick Pope. He used to be ex-MOD. You've probably seen him on various documentaries, and he's a big person I wanted to actually speak to and ask him some certain questions. So let's take a look. Hi Nick, nice to finally meet you. Big fan of yours, you've been on all sorts of documentaries over the years. You are the man to go for UFOs in the UK. How did you get into the UFO, like following it all, before you was in the MOD? What sort of happened?
I didn't follow it before I was in the Ministry of Defence. I actually had no interest in the subject at all, no particular beliefs, never seen anything myself. However, when I joined the Ministry of Defence, which was a 21-year career, they move you around every few years, either on a level transfer or promotion. And in 1991, I was due for a move. The vacancy emerged for the UFO desk job, and so it was just a question of luck and timing, and I happened to get that job. So it was just chance. I fell into it by accident.
Brilliant. So you're now in America. You've said here at the Awakening Convention today that it's the Five Eyes. You call it the Five Eyes. You're saying America are starting to sort of drip feed information out, would you say? But why is it the UK government aren't? It could be something maybe because the UK government has a lot of religion around the Parliament and the Queen, the King. Do you think that might be affecting things a little bit?
Religion might have an effect on this, yes, but it might equally have an effect in the United States. I think when it comes to the Five Eyes, of course, this is the intelligence sharing alliance that has existed for years, linking the US intelligence community with Canada, the United Kingdom, Australia and New Zealand. And it covers, of course, a huge range of different intelligence matters. Now, what happened was that on May 31st, at the meeting that NASA held of their independent UAP panel, Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick from the Pentagon's AARO office that has the lead for UFOs, All Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, said, I have just convened the first Five Eyes panel on UAP. Wow. So that effectively let the cat out of the bag that the Five Eyes were engaged on this. So that means it would be inconceivable that the UK didn't attend that meeting. Okay. Journalists have asked, the MOD press office have refused to comment. This is standard UK practice, pretty much, trying to hide behind the we don't comment on intelligence matters. Of course, they comment on intelligence matters all the time when they want to.
Yeah, they do, Do you think, just stay on the religion a little bit, I think, personally, tell me if I'm wrong, that if they did come out and say tomorrow or next week, whenever, that we have had contacts, there is a life out there, do you think the problem they've got is there might be big cult problems, like with religion, like cult mass suicides or stuff like that happening because people are like, oh my God, they've followed this religion all along and it's a lie?
Yes, there could be something like Heaven's Gate, but on a much bigger scale. I think if you shatter people's worldview and their beliefs, who knows what will happen? And I think people are very wary of those unknowns in terms of societal cohesiveness, stability, societal resilience, effectively. And religion is going to be, we literally, of course, all the time have people killing in the name of religion and hating because someone is of what they consider the wrong religion. So if you throw the extraterrestrial issue into the middle of this, who knows what will happen? And I think governments and the religions themselves are wary of that, and rightly so.
Because I recently saw something about the Vatican have just started saying, it could be, what's your thoughts on...
dating back some years now, the Vatican's position has been to say there is no doctrinal objection to the existence of extraterrestrial life because man may place no creative limits upon God. So they're trying to get ahead of the game.
That's it. Okay, Nick, if I was to go to Rendlesham, obviously I'm not expecting to see anything because that was long ago, but would there be anything residual there still? Maybe magnetic fields, anything happening within the forests from when the supposed UFO crafts were there?
We do know that radioactivity levels significantly higher than the average background, and that's a direct quote from a declassified Ministry of Defence document, were found. But because we don't know the source of that information, we don't know the source of that radiation, and we don't know what type of radiation it was.
Because it's different.
We don't know the half-life, and so we don't know really that there would be anything still detectable. I have gone to Rendlesham Forest on several occasions with film crews, and I have sometimes gone with a Geiger counter, and we have not found anything. But of course the forest was flattened in the Great Storm of '87, so
I remember it.
even going with witnesses like Charles Holt, who were there, I'm not sure they can be absolutely certain that we've got the right landing site. If we could be sure, you would want to take a Geiger counter, you would want to take a metal detector, you would want to take soil samples.
Right, that was my last question, because where the UFO model is, that's not actually the landing spot, is it? Apparently it's somewhere else. Is that
yes, the replica of the UFO is just a bit of fun from the Forestry Commission to mark the route so that walkers can go and walk the trail and have a picnic and whatever, but it's not in the actual site, no.
Right, okay. Is there any way to find the actual site?
Really, you'd have to go back with somebody like Charles Holt or John Burroughs, Jim Penniston. Some of the witnesses we know verifiably were there. Munro Nevels, who operated the Geiger counter, of course. So you'd have to go back with one of them.
Brilliant. You've been at Awakening this weekend. How is it? Is this your first Awakening?
This is my second.
Oh, okay.
Awakening Expo 2023 is amazing. We've got a huge range of brilliant speakers covering a whole range of different but interconnected subjects. There are people here who are interested in nuts and bolts UFO material. There are people here who are more spiritual, who are interested in the spiritual journey and consciousness, and there are people interested in a whole range of mysteries, esoteric matters, paranormal phenomena, and all these people are coming together under this umbrella of Awakening Expo, and it's like a family coming together with their shared interest.
It's been nice,
in this. Because sometimes some of these ideas are not necessarily hugely popular in the wider population. So here, though, everyone comes together and everyone knows that they're on the same team.
They can let their shoulders down and just let it out. So
exactly.
How's your thoughts on like ghosts and stuff? Do you believe in that sort of thing, or are you skeptical?
You know what? When I was at the Ministry of Defence, I once had a job in security, so I got to know a lot of the Ministry of Defence police, and so many of them had stories about being on night patrol at military bases, encountering something. They said often the police dogs would sort of stop suddenly, the hackles would rise, there would be a feeling of cold and fear and things. And most of these Ministry of Defence police officers are retired army.
So they're grounded.
They're pretty no-nonsense, pretty tough people. And they've been on occasion quite traumatized by this, and put it this way, there's enough of those stories that I've heard to make me think there's something there, but to be honest, it's not my area of expertise. I think there are people who've researched this much more than I have. I've really I'm interested in it, but I've not genuinely investigated in any
that's fine,
real depth.
Thank you, Nick. Thanks for watching this episode of Paranormal Torch, which was at Awakening in Manchester. It's been a really good weekend. It's quite dark out here, looks like it's about to rain. And that's enough of me. If you like this sort of thing, you want me to go to more exhibitions and talk to paranormal groups, mediums, hit a like below, make sure you leave a comment as well, and it would be nice if you could subscribe. You know, I'll love you if you do it. But thanks for watching. Take care, guys. See you on the next video. Bye.